all sports lake, available for use for all people in Manistee to use as an all sports lake. It certainly changes our property values and our ability for recreation if that changes in any way. So, have we been impacted by wakes where we live? Yes, because we are not in a no wake zone. We find that probably 90% of the boats that go by us are courteous and do slow down to a no wake speed, but we will occasionally have the wakes that'll be 2 foot or more. Have we had any damage that we can point to as a result of that? No, and that property's been in existence for not quite 20 years, but close to 20 years. We've just installed new docks within the last year. We've had to work on the stability of those docks, but most of the damage that occurs for us is either the waves in the spring or the fall when we get those southeast winds, and also from ice. Those are just things that we know is a yearly cost of maintenance for us. I know this is a recommendation body, and I hope that any recommendations will be based on studies that are actually done. I would say that these studies should have qualitative and quantitative data. There's a lot of data out there that will tell you there's peer-reviewed research on the impact of wakes versus waves on lakes. Wakes are more damaging, but there is also probably a good using a scalpel versus a chainsaw approach to come at this issue. We don't know right now if the issues are erosion or if it's a dock stability issue. I would think a study on both of those could and should be done. We certainly are not seeing erosion where we're at. I'm not seeing it, I'm not seeing trees falling in the water or anything else that points to erosion being an issue. And boats going across that lake have been going across here for several decades at this point. So, I would say that an approach using research, possibly involving a civil engineer, perhaps it's making some recommendations that say a distance from shore. As I've taken video and done observation, it looks like those waves where the charter boats are currently going are dissipating well before shore. Manistee Lake is unique just because of the 2 rivers coming together. You have dissipation that occurs just because of the weed bed and other factors. So I think any actual study needs to actually be a study that is specific to Manistee Lake. So there's possible limitations on distance from shore for wakes. Maybe it's time restrictions, but I would perhaps recommend that finding the correct balance is in our best interest for all the citizens here in Manistee County, especially those that are property owners. I'm not sure, I know that we were not contacted in regards to this as Joslyn Cove homeowners. I'm not sure if Pier 31 or Manistee RV and Resort has been contacted, as well as the other businesses who reside out of those, such as the charter fishermen and the impact that we'll have on them. So I would perhaps recommend that a committee be put together that represents the landowners, the business owners, recreational boaters, and perhaps the fishermen that are all using that lake. I would volunteer to be part of that group. I've had experience actually chairing a statewide committee that had to make a recommendation to the governor. We had to use research. We had to make sure that all of our I's were dotted, T's were crossed, and present that information then to the governor, which was then approved and distributed statewide. So that's what a process like this, in my estimation, should look like before any recommendation is made to move forward. So I thank you for your time and appreciate it.
Excellent, thank you. Next.
Hi, my name is Kathy Van Gelder. I'm here to represent the Century Boat Club. And next year in September, Century Boats will turn 100 years old. And so we want to bring 100 boats to the city and have a good time. But we need some guarantees that we can have that many boats here, have a bunch of them in the water, like up to 80 boats in the water. So we need guaranteed dockage and, you know, so that we don't have a beautiful sailboat right in the middle of the boats. We have we are planning like 80 boats in the water and then 20 to 30 on land. We're looking to get a boat from each year here. The older ones we want on the land, on a land display. And then as they get, I'm sorry, this is kind of new to me. It's real new to me. Anyway, we need dockage, guaranteed dockage, and we will be more than happy to put a contract together for that. We need a place to park trailers. Now I know that particular season is fishing, salmon season, isn't it? September there. So there's a lot of
Whole month.
fishermen in the lake and in the along the river there. Anyway, so we're looking for where to put our trailers once we get our boats in the water. And then another question was the docks this year, because the water level was so low, they were so high. Those are movable docks, I'm told. Can they be brought down to a lesser height to get down to their boats? What else did I have? I think that's it. Those are our concerns. I have the documents that need to be filled out and filed 90 days before the show. And all those requirements on those docs will be filled by previous to that time. That's what we're up against. We don't know if we can get guaranteed dockage and places to put our trailers. Thank you.
I don't think so. We'll have to get.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Chris Ingles with Dark Blue Charters. I slip at Pier 31 here in Manistee. I don't have any real concerns or comments right now. I'm interested in the no-wake zone and what will be presented here today. I'm more concerned with what the boundaries will be, if they've been put forth yet. And I may have more comments later in the day, but that's something I'm looking forward to. And again, I may have more comments after we learn a little more about it. Thank you.
Vanderhoff, owner of Wander Inn. And while I'm not the person that really brought this up, I kind of got asked to carry the torch here today. Robbie from the ships couldn't be here. I think all of you got his letter, and he's the one that really initially brought this to my attention. And so he did send video of some of the damage and the issues that we're having down there on the lake. I will start by saying, when I started to build Wander Inn, I came to the city, and one of the things that happened was you can't build or put a shovel in the ground until you repair that seawall. And you can't put a shovel in the ground, you can't have any kind of boat slips there using the old slips were there. We can all agree they were completely a disaster, floating off and getting in the way of boats and all kinds of stuff. So I took it upon myself, for the reason of opening the restaurant, but not realizing that in order to open the restaurant there, I've got to fix and repair the seawall to the tune of $425,000. So I put the seawall in, we put the docks in, we're considered a marina. I pay marina fees. So we're no different than Sangs, if you look at Sangs. There's a no-wake zone there that goes in front of Sangs Marina. There's a reason that's there. It's not just us. I've watched So many things happen. When it's jigging season, and by the way, I'm a fisherman. I fish the Frenzy. I love to fish, out fishing all the time. Have been since I drove boats before I drove cars. So I've always been on the waters, and there's always been this thing of, you know, common courtesy, common decency. And not charters, I'm not naming any charter because I don't have pictures, I don't have video. But what I will say is boats coming into the lake are not staying away from their wake is not staying away from our property. What's happening is the seawall that I just put in is being washed up on, and already now you can see where the, I don't know, it's kind of a rubberized material that they put under riprap, is now beginning to show already. I put in brand new docks, and Swiderski's built our docks, and they put in a brand new dock. We had a boat come in, not related to, not friends or anything like that. They just kind of pulled in, docked there. One of the big boats went by, slammed them against the dock, damaging their boat and pulling my brand new pilings out of the water. Also, this fall, when the fishermen were out there jigging, they were in small fishing boats. And one of the boats, I don't know which boat it was, came whizzing through there and nearly knocked people in the water. And it was scary to watch. We see all of that from the restaurant. There were probably, I don't know, 50, 75, 100 boats out there. And they just cut right through them. Well, the consequence, and from what I understand happened after that, the person that was in the small boat chased down the guy in the big boat. There was a fist fight. The police were called, and there was an issue. We don't want those kind of issues. And I want everybody here to be successful. I want my business to be successful. I want the charter guys to be successful. So can we come to an agreement somehow where there's a no-wake zone, maybe right at the ships to the mouth of the river, there's a no-wake zone. I don't know what can possibly be done, but my goal is to expand my docks and work with the fishermen because we want to do the catch and cook. We want to have them come to our restaurant. They do now. So we want to be friendly with everyone. It's not us against the charter guys. It's not us against the other business owners. We all want to play in the sandbox together, but there's, you know, rules exist for a reason. And when common courtesy isn't followed, that's when it becomes a rule where you've got to have it. And it's already been done. MLC section 324.8015 from the Michigan legislature talks about how vessels have to be operated at a speed so as not to endanger unreasonably the life or property of any person. This already exists, and I'll give you a copy of this. So we don't have to, I don't know that there's a reason to assemble a group, but I'm happy to be a part of it. I also have served under the governor, passed 8 bills underneath of her that I helped write, been on many committees, happy to be on a committee here to do this and to look at this issue. But I think what you're going to hear, if you've looked at the videos from the ship, that is hands down the most dangerous thing I've ever seen. If you get elderly people or young kids climbing up there and a boat goes by and throws a wake, somebody is gonna get killed. Not just hurt, killed. Because if they fall down between that ship and that dock, it's a real problem. And Robbie's concerned about that too. That's why he brought the letter, and he's really sorry he couldn't be here to support this. But I think overall, you know, if we can get the wake zone to start at the ships and, you know, go to the mouth, I think that would be sufficient, and that allows the rest of the lake to be used for whatever purposes they want to be used for. I haven't even brought up our donut boats. People getting off of our floating docks onto those donut boats have been nearly knocked into the water. In our donut boats going out, people, I was in one, and I don't know who it was. I wish I'd have gotten the name of the boat because I might have followed them, to be quite honest. They weren't more than 20 feet from the donut boat, and they went by on full plane. The way that the rules are right now, I have a 65-foot boat. I can come down that lake on full plane. What do you think that's going to do to a small fishing boat or a donut boat or any other small boat? You're going to be knocked over. And we don't want that to happen. We want this to be a place where everyone can come and play. And so any boat can come in. I'm not talking about the charter guys. I'm talking about the boats that we're going to pull in from outside of Manistee. Because I have a lot of friends that boat. They're going to want to come here. They're going to want to visit the restaurant and be a part of it. So I know I have to wind up. Thank you for your time, and happy to be help any way that I can to try to find a solution to this. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Bob Cook. I'm the president of the Association for Bayview Condos. We are the 19 condos between the boat ramp and now the Wander Inn. We have 20 slips, 10 docks, about 44 foot into the water. Don't even know where to begin. It takes about 3 minutes for one of the big boats, mostly charters, but there's other boats as well, to go from the mouth of the channel over to the big boat. It takes about 3 minutes if they're not on plane, right? So if they're slow, no wake, which there are several that do that. Notice the word several. Otherwise, full plane, it's about a minute. So the most they save is about 2 minutes on their trip out, and then 2 minutes on their trip back. If they do 3 trips a day, you can calculate that. It's 24 minutes total. They also probably save money on their fuel by going 5 miles an hour, which would be about slow no wake, versus probably 11 to 15 knots. I should use the word knots, okay? What happens with these wakes on, and we see them, I mean, we are right there, okay? And I hate saying the word Manistee Lake because we're a very small bay in Manistee Lake. We are not the main part of the lake. Somebody mentioned that a long time ago. We've tried to get this changed before over the past 20, almost 30 years. And well, it's the main part of the lake, you can't do that. Oh, it's the main part of the lake. No, it's really not. It's only about 1,800 feet wide, and it's probably not even, maybe double that going to the channel. It's not that big. There's over 900 acres out there. We're a very, very small part of that, but we all are very, very funneled, if you will. So as you come in there, there's nowhere for it to dissipate but off to the sides. When it does dissipate, it hits our docks, okay? It hits our boats, it hits our seawall, and then it bounces back and does it all over again. It's a safety issue, obviously, because we are bouncing somewhere between 6 to a foot, if not higher, depending on the boat. Damage, environmental, erosion. It erodes the wetlands that are on the east side, if you will. It erodes our seawall. It erodes everything where the boat ramp and the fishing dock are. It's also wrecking those items over time. It's not like, oh yeah, got wrecked yesterday. Oh, we got wrecked the day before. It's a constant battle, okay? And it's been happening for a long time. I've only lived here since 2022, so I haven't had the opportunity to see 30 years worth, all right? Captains are responsible for their wake, whether it's in a no-wake zone or not in a wake zone. If it damages or injures someone or creates erosion, they are responsible. It's a maritime law. If they would just go, take 3 minutes, actually 2 extra minutes out of their trip, we wouldn't have this problem. Now, there are other boats that go in there and they cruise, yeah. But usually our area, the jet ski, he'll come in and then he's gone. I don't know where he goes, but he's there once and he's gone. Usually no one is in there doing their little water skiing, okay? There's no wake boats in there, nothing like that. Most of them actually go towards the bigger part of the lake. They have more room. They don't want to deal with all the boats coming in and out of the boat launch, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The only time it gets busy is mid of August to the end of September, when everybody's out there jigging. We counted about 80 boats. That's the most we've ever been able to count out there. I just think it's important that we don't continue to call it Manistee Lake, because it's not the lake. It's a very, very small portion that we're asking to kind of curtail the speed in order to lower the damage, erosion, et cetera. So, and I would be I represent 18 condos, so I would be more than happy to be on a committee to help determine how we can resolve this. Thank you. Oh, and I do have a video. If somebody wants to see that, those wakes come in and bounce the boat.
Very good. Moving along, we'll get an approval of the minutes. Has anyone seen, or have we all seen them, and any changes?
I move they be accepted as printed.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unfinished business, our 9th Street boat launch potential project. My thought is we gotta move on this and keep moving and don't stop until it happens. Whatever we need to do.
So I believe I did just a hand sketch, sent it out to everybody just to start the discussion. 3 people from the Parks Commission. The Parks Commission's interested in working on this project with the Harbor Commission. So there's been 3 people identified by that commission. And I don't remember, did we identify people from this one?
No.
So if this commission wants to kind of create an ad hoc committee and create some participants, then we'll kind of mesh the group together, kind of kick it off and start discussions.
I feel it's important. I'm interested. I'd be happy to serve on a committee.
Yeah, as well. It's a good project.
Yeah, I think we talked about that earlier in the year when I was here, committee. Yeah, I think it'd be great for that part of town, get something going, and,
Yeah, I think that part of town is very interested
yes,
in that project and how it works out.
2 residents from there are on the board here, so,
Oh, good.
excellent. Yeah, whatever we can do and keep together on that and keep working on it, it'll work out good.
Okay, so I'll just work with Katie and we'll get the 2 groups together. And
Yeah, if we find out who they are, we can mesh.
Good.
Perfect. We'll come up to our reports, one from the harbor master, Jeff.
Just some quick ones. The Corps of Engineers finished the outer harbor dredging. Actually went extremely fast. They had a good stretch of weather. I believe they took out about 45,000 cubic yards, which is actually more than they originally bid, but it went really well and they got good pricing. They're also, and they've been having quite regular meetings with the city staff, and they're also planning to dredge in the upper portions of the channel, really between kind of Spruce Street and US 31 along that stretch. There's some shoaling, and but there has been a previous PFAS site on the north side of the river, and so the Corps is planning to do some due diligence where they're going to test the sediments in the channel, make sure that they're PFAS clear. They're also going to test those sediments for gradations, so if it's a silty material, then it has to be disposed of upland. If it's a more sandy granular material, then they can place that offshore. So they're planning to do some of that sampling in the next year. But there seems to be more interest on the Corps of Engineers' part to keep the harbor maintained, and I believe that follows funding, quite frankly. Also, we've talked about it in the past, but the city is planning to kind of complete a renovation of the Memorial Park, what we call the North River Walk. That has been delayed because the Corps of Engineer put us through, we had to apply for some permits for that. They put us through an elevated review process called a 408 review. And it's because when they dredged last year, they damaged some of our river walk and the net shed. So now they're making sure that any work that gets completed can withstand all of their dredging mandates and so forth. But today we just got our permit for that project, so at least we move that forward. Honestly, I think the open dialogues that we're having in regular meetings is helping things quite a bit. If you've noticed, down at First Street Boat Launch, we got a new pay station. We replaced just about every component in the old one and kept revolving them, and we kept it on life support for probably about 6-7 years. But we're not able to get the parts now, so we replaced it, and so it should be good for quite a long time. Last week, the City Council renewed a contract with Huron Tackle to continue removing the fish waste from our fish cleaning station. So yesterday, we shut the water off, winterized it, finished cleaning it today. That shut down for the season. I think that's it for me.
Very good. City Manager Bill Gamble will give our boat launch revenue report.
So Jeff mentioned the new pay station was installed September. We've had 27 seasonal permits for $1,350, and we had daily permits. That's an impressive number of 1,046 for $10,460 for September. So that we still have October numbers, as I think it's mentioned that that ended, I think Katie said today.
It's getting close today. It was close
So
today.
we'll have that at the next meeting, but impressive September for the daily permits.
Good.
I will say that for the first time in my 14 years with the city, we had to call people in on overtime on the weekends to empty the pay box at Arthur Street. Normally, if we empty that Friday, we can get it through till Monday. It was jam-packed several times, so very, very popular this year.
It's a good situation.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bill. Our new business will be the Manistee Lake No Wake Zone discussion. Anybody have any ideas to start it?
We do have that video from Robbie Lorraine from the SS Milwaukee, if we'd like to look at that. I also have the current no wake ordinance that we can look at.
This is where we give comments.
Yeah, you can throw out
Okay.
ideas.
We're watching it. I think we've got a couple videos to watch.
Watch these videos.
Okay.
This is all the effects on the walkway, I think.
There's a Coast Guard boat for a minute.
Not all of them. if we need to watch each of them, but I think that's a good sample of what the impacts are on some of these wakes.
Are all the videos, I'm not disagreeing if there's weight coming in, but with the big Coast Guard ship on one side, you kind of created an artificial bay.
Channel.
So the waves are doing, do we have any that are just on the shore of not in that bay?
That's what I just wrote down, actually.
I actually do have one that would show a charter boat and the wakes dissipate before shoreline and it completely off.
Do any of these?
over by Jocelyn, not over by.
No, it actually was taken right there in front of the restaurant.
Yeah, so
Three minutes.
when we rented a donut boat and charter boats came in, our donut boat was like this and people were out in it and like taking off, so.
Yeah, I do.
Can you show this video, please?
Do you have it on a thumb drive? Or?
No, I could, try and email it to you.
So to your point,
Yeah, let's move
one
on.
thing that stood out to me
Yeah.
was that you've got a very
Log into yours.
focused wave.
Like,
And, I mean, waves need to dissipate. They
Right.
dissipate over space, they get absorbed, they break up energy. But when you put it between two fixed points in a fixed shore, in a solid
It's gonna
shoreline,
be exaggerated.
it bounces. They bounce. And actually, when a wave hits a solid surface and it reflects back, it doubles the next wave.
Would not have been comfortable to walk on, of
No.
course.
I've got a question. Is there currently a city ordinance that governs the no-wake zone for Manistee Channel from Lake Michigan to Manistee Lake?
Yeah, and the
Yeah,
city
if you could
manager
pull
often
that up.
put that up on the
Yeah.
screen.
At the no wake
I don't,
ordinance. I don't have it sent to me.
personally, we are a commission, we don't need another committee.
Can you put your?
We can make this decision to make a recommendation
Send it
to
to me,
the
right?
city council
Yeah, I'm prepared.
by ourselves.
How about just mine?
Yeah,
And I'm
just
ready
send
to
it
make a
me.
motion,
Okay.
if anyone is willing to accept it. This is not new to this commission. 6 months ago, we had somebody come and talk to us. As a boater, I know exactly what they're talking about. I happen to slip my boat in an area that is no wake.
I don't know how to do this.
And when people violate that, they get kicked out of the marina. Pretty simple. Let's do something right as a commission. From one boater to another, I'm ready to make a motion.
I worked at the city of Milwaukee for a short time building ghost ship. So I was down there in September, and I've seen the waves bounce that deck. And if we had children or something on that deck, we would have a very serious problem. I strongly think that we need to take some kind of precaution, not only for the safety of everyone involved in that area, but to prevent property damage too. And I do agree with the gentleman that we should probably get some kind of studies, so we make an informed decision when we do this, because naturally we don't want to affect or hurt anyone. But as I sit here and as I listen to this right now, it would make sense to have Manistee Lake in that area be some kind of a no-wake zone.
I think it would be premature to be making motions at this point when we haven't heard all the information that's available to us.
One of the questions that I have is, Manistee Lake has multiple governmental jurisdictions. First of all, it's in the county, the city is along a portion of it. There are two different townships that are all, or three different townships, Manistee Township, Filer Township, and Stronach Township that all touch it. So I'm not even clear what our limits of jurisdiction are. I know that the police chief has been looking into it and believe that we had jurisdiction over like 200 feet from the shoreline. But that's my first question is, what jurisdiction does the city actually have? Because the Harbor Commission is the city, it's not a county type.
State law.
So that'd be my first question.
I think when you first came on the commission, we discussed, if we ask 7, 8, 10 people, the definition of wake.
No,
There is no established.
No, nobody will give you that definition,
No, switch with
because
me and then you can
it's an individual
send it to me.
determination. But
Get out of the tree.
I think we've heard plenty of the effects of a wake. Okay? I personally think we need to go to the council with a motion for them to make a decision relative to that potential no-wake zone, and I'm ready to make that motion. I won't make it if I don't have support.
Well, we are obviously a recommendational body to the city council.
That's right.
So that would be the appropriate path. But I think that city council is gonna want this commission to know all the facts and just to be able to study it and to be educated on what we're recommending. And so I think we need to explore the information, look into it more. This is the first time we've had really any serious dialogue on it, from my perspective.
You know, I'm not willing to support a motion at this point that's just carte blanche, no wake zone from the boat to or to the mouth of the river. I'd love to see, you know, again, we got the laws, 100 feet, 200 feet from shore already. How about some abatement, I'd like to see some options. And that's coming from me as part of the commission and on the council. We're gonna wanna see, I don't see support saying, nope, nope. But there's definitely support because there is an issue, but we're gonna wanna see some options.
Yeah, there's also setting regulations, and then you guys just talked about, there's also enforcement.
Yeah.
And the city doesn't have that enforcement.
That's exactly what I was gonna bring up, yes.
Before I speak, I want to reveal that my wife does work for Bridget at Wander Inn. So if anyone suspects my motives, but what I would like to say is, I researched this and I looked at the compilation of laws in the state codes, and there's really enough law out there right now, and as Bridget referred to, you know, anybody throwing a wake that creates hazard to life or the property of someone else is operating incorrectly, period.
Yeah.
And so what she's asking for is posting a no-wake zone, which is mandated by current laws, I would say. You know, anytime you're operating your boat and you come across someone who's anchored to fish, like you say, common courtesy is you don't bounce them around in a wake. You go past docked boats or marinas, you don't throw a wake. She has a marina there now, you don't throw a wake. If she would like to have it posted, she can ask us to post it, but I think she can post it herself. If it's causing damage to her property or the boat's docked at her dock, then it's well within our recognition of the current laws to accept that as a no-wake zone or recommend it.
Can I ask a question? Bridgie, did I hear you say that Sengs Marina has a no-wake zone?
Yeah, they have a huge no-wake zone sign there. You can't go across.
They have the sign.
So they have a sign, but there's no, I don't think there's any jurisdiction
I don't know
or,
if there's jurisdiction. I just know that I stayed there for 6 weeks. If there was a sign there that says no wake, and if you violate that, you're gonna get collected.
It's in the
well, that might be a marina.
in the
It
marina.
might be, but I know the sign is on the end of my property, my other property there, so that sign is there.
Okay.
And I would say jurisdiction over that is the sheriff. He's the one who can enforce no-wake zones.
I spoke to Lansing about this issue.
And, you know, nothing speaks as much as a few fines, a few citations. Word gets around quickly.
Yes.
If the sheriff chose to enforce it, issued a few citations, and people had to take their time to go up to City Hall and appear, even to have them waived. Time is money, and the word would get around fast.
So the gentleman from Joslyn Cove brought up that it's an all-sports lake, and that means a lot to what lake you're on, if you're on a non-motorized or, you know. Is the wake caused by just transit in and out of the marina, or is it people water skiing, or?
I can just tell you, I live on Spring Lake, lived there for several years, it smells have 2 marinas. That is no wake through there. Even though it's an all-sports lake, you can go waking once you get past those marinas and past where the condos are that also have slips. So it's the same situation as what you have in Spring Lake, same situation as what you have in Holland, same situation as what you have in Sauk. Jacobson's Marina in Frankfurt, that's a no-wake zone in front of that marina. You can't go whipping through there. So I think we're not asking for anything more than what you see up and down the coast of all of these places. But leaving the, the other side, if it's no wake, you want to leave the other part of the lake where it's, it can be a wake, great. But where there's marinas and where there's property being damaged, I think the law speaks for itself.
Right, and I think that's what you articulated, is that it is the current law.
According,
So wouldn't the first step be to ask the sheriff to start enforcing?
enforcement,
Enforcement more than anything.
according,
So there's some really good peer-reviewed research that will state that about 400 feet away from the shoreline is the optimal distance. And I think that using some of that peer-reviewed studies should be done because this commission is required to have studies before making the recommendation to the city council.
Well, 400 feet. You feel like that would protect? No. Is that the channel at that end of the lake getting closer and closer to the shore? I thought that was part of the problem, that was getting narrower, the navigable.
Around the boat is about 20 yards.
We did a little impromptu study on Saturday where we took our boat out and took some measurements, et cetera, and I'll go into some of those later, but the case in point is that from the sandbar, which I would consider on the opposite side, on the sandbar side, is non-navigable, to the docks at the Wander Inn is 19 statute miles, which works out to 264 yards. Just
.19,
information.
.19,
Yeah, point.
yeah.
So 264 yards of navigable water from the sandbar to the docks at the Wander Inn.
That's east-west, correct, sir?
That's correct.
Roughly east-west?
Yes,
Yes. And as he mentioned, the distance between the bow of the Milwaukee and the sandbar is extremely short.
So, I'm sorry, I don't mean to speak.
That's okay.
Gentlemen, please. If we were to extend a no-wake zone into the southern edge, where we wouldn't cause wake until we reached the southern portion of that lake, whether it be more in front of Arthur Street Launch or Joslin Cove, would that be accepted? I mean, as a charter captain, the last thing I want to do is make damage to anybody's property or cause harm to anybody.
That's fine.
So I'm trying to look for a resolution.
Right.
We
And
moved that no-wake zone further to the south, so we didn't begin our wake until we were a considerable distance southern of your edge. Would that be a compromise the committee would be willing to discuss?
and
Or 600 feet or more away from the shoreline, period, and just mark it with buoys.
I agree with that, like a kind of a gentleman's agreement,
There we go.
no wake zone type thing. No, you're not gonna be able to control the boaters that have no concerns about what they're gonna be
I
doing.
think more the
But,
concern is the larger
right,
boats.
Right.
and another point that I'd like to point out is that the charter boats or any larger boats, when they're powering up and powering down is when they're creating the most wake. And that usually happens right in front of the Wander Inn,
Yeah, I would agree.
you know?
So if we were to, and I don't know what can be done here today, obviously this is a recommendation committee. We could put something forth where we put some parameters in place, and that's why I said earlier, I'd be curious of what the parameters will be on this. Obviously, if we can get further to the eastern edge, but then we're gonna run to the sandbar, I'd be happy to give a wider berth to create less wake for their business and for people in their areas. But that's not really possible, that sandbar being over the edge. So we were to, I already said this, but we were to put something in place that created a southern boundary where we would power down, power up. Once we pass that, I'd be agreeable to that. I think most other charter captains at my location, Pier 31, would be acceptable to that. The biggest thing for us is time is money for us, and somebody already said that here. I mean, we heard the numbers earlier of all the people that are coming up to Manistee now to use this recreational area. I mean, the money speaks loudly that way. We don't want to do anything that's going to harm anything coming to Manistee. Tourism's huge here. Fishing is probably your number one draw when it comes to tourism, if I'm not mistaken. I will contest that it's not 3 minutes when you're at no wake speed to get from the big boat to the channel. That's I'll leave it at that. So I'm very open to somebody trying up something, giving us that southern edge. It would maybe fix all problems.
I would also like to let everyone know what the results of some of our testing was there. And we observed 2 charter-like boats, as far as size is concerned, traveling at what we would consider an acceptable wake, not necessarily a no wake, but an acceptable wake that did not appear to have any effect on the shoreline. In both of those instances, we timed those boats, and it was 5 minutes from the channel to the nose of the boat, the Milwaukee. We then took our boat, started at the beginning of the nose of the Milwaukee, powered up to 17 miles an hour, and ran to the channel where the no-wake area would be, and that was like 1 minute and 45 seconds. So those are actually, in fact, statistics that I'm bringing forth based on our study, what we did.
Can I just add something? I worry too, is we start to advertise more with the restaurant. One of the things that, as a pleasure boater, that we look for are places to go, right? Get on our boats and go there. And as I put in more docks, which I will be bringing riparian rights to this conversation, because my riparian, if you know what riparian rights are, I'm having a riparian rights survey done, and I believe my riparian rights actually extend all the way to the end of the boat noses, or the bows, or stern, whatever's sticking out there at the stern. So if I go and I put docks out as far as my riparian rights, I don't even know how you get 100 feet with that sandbar there. So I'm trying to and on top of that, when I put those docks in and we start advertising this restaurant, we're gonna get a lot more pleasure boaters into Manistee, which I think everybody wants. I mean, that's what we're doing here. But if it's not, if I'm a pleasure boater and I'm coming into a new channel that I haven't been into, if it's not marked, I'm gonna keep on going. I don't see it. It's not marked. So somehow this has to be marked for new people coming in. I worry less about, I think the charter captains do great. I mean, they wanna work with us. We wanna all play in the lake together and be friendly. So I think we can come to an agreement, but I worry more about the new people coming in. If it's not well marked, that they're just not gonna know. And then somebody else, then the potential of injury is there and damage to the shoreline. And I think one of the things we're not talking enough about here is the actual erosion of the shoreline that ruins the lake itself.
I have to agree. I bicycle along the channel most every day. And every day I see people throwing a hard wake all the way from the entry to the harbor to the stub pier, where it's first posted as no wake zone.
Exactly.
And that is not where the no wake zone begins. It begins at the entry to the harbor. But they don't recognize it unless it's posted. And then I look at the $2 million the city has put into protecting from erosion a few years ago, and I see people motoring fast by, neglecting, they should know it's a no-wake zone. As a boater, they should know that. but they don't seem to care. Often they'll slow down once they see dockage, but courtesy to their fellow boaters. Not always that even. So I do think we should post it, because I think it is a no-wake zone in recognition of the marina, period. And we should ask the county sheriff to enforce it.
Since there's a couple there's one buoy there with a no wake, like maybe a couple more up to the southern edge, and then enforcement, because what it reads there is we don't need an ordinance to enforce it. It's on the books right now.
And, you know, I'm all for, well, Representative Jocelyn Cove doesn't seem to think it's a problem. Are you an elected representative?
Well, do we think it's a problem? Let me clarify.
Ken.
That, you know, we still don't want to have boats throwing 3-foot wakes at our docks either. I just think that most of the boats have now become a lot more courteous as they go through that area, and we are not seeing the issue. So I guess what I would like to say or see is a distance, if there's going to be a recommendation, that it's a distance from shoreline that doesn't impact, you know, either our marina, the ship, the Wander Inn, or Bayview. And I think if you keep that distance away from shoreline, that you could probably come up with an ordinance. You could put buoys out there to say, that basically tell the boaters to stay to the east of this before you're in any type of a wake. And from my observations and video, that if you're far enough away from that shoreline, you're not going to have any wake that's going to be causing an issue, that the wakes actually dissipate. My observation is about 550 feet from shore, you're finding that wake is going to dissipate before shoreline. So, you know, I think that there is a compromise to be had here that isn't going to impact the businesses that are to the north, the other property owners then that are also to the north. So, you know, I think that there is compromise to be made. I just don't think that we need to take a chainsaw to something that probably needs a scalpel.
I guess my point was,
As a pleasure boater coming in, if there's buoys just marking from shore, they're going to be lit. Somebody's going to hit them. They're going to be dumb. So who's going to pay to light all these buoys and all of that? It's much easier just to have a no-wake zone. And to get 500 and some feet, you don't have that space from the ships to the sandbar. It's too shallow. It's too narrow.
You don't need it in front of the ship, though.
You don't need lit.
It's just no wake there.
It's just no way.
It's not, they just.
I just want to kind of
I think the
clarify
commission
difference.
should have some discussion, like, we should be discussing this ourselves.
Yeah, there's room for public comments at the end again.
Okay.
To me, that there's many levels to this, and this isn't just a cut and dried issue. My previous career, I was a project manager. We designed dozens and dozens, maybe up to 100 different waterfront projects, and we always took into account wave action and you know, vessel traffic and stuff when we were designing docks and marinas and breakwaters and wave attenuators, and try to plan for that stuff. So there's some responsibility, I think, of the property owners to handle the environment that they're in. The other side of it is that we have very limited jurisdiction. What the city manager put up on the screen is we have a current ordinance that requires a no wake within the river channel. Everybody seems to be aware of that. We don't have any enforcement tools for that. The Coast Guard won't enforce the local ordinance, so we have to rely on the sheriff, Marine Patrol when they're there. And we've all seen that be abused and without consequence, right? I mean, whenever you walk down the river, you see it. We have multiple different businesses and that all have interests. Some are inside the city, some are outside the city. To me, the first step is making those who are causing the wake to realize that, and the charter boat captain here, like, have some conversations. Maybe the meetings need to be with Pier 31 and say, look, what's good for your business is good for their business, and if people come and eat and people buy condos, then they're gonna wanna go charter boat fishing and bring their friends up. Like, everything feeds off each other. Let's be courteous, and that's a first step. If this commission recommends a no-wake zone for, let's say we have jurisdiction over the 200 feet from shoreline, we certainly can recommend that to council. Council could put that in writing, but then how do we implement it and how do we enforce it? The only place we can put signs right now is I could put them on Arthur Street Boat Launch. The rest of it's private property, okay? So then we have to purchase and install buoys, remove buoys, we've gotta get permits, go through all that. If they have to be lighted, I mean, there's different issues with that, but we probably can only put them out 200 feet from shore, and there was also somebody that said 400 feet is the ideal, distance from shore where that's effective. So, and still, even if all that works out, it still has to be enforced by the county sheriff. So I'm just saying, there's just a lot of different levels to this, and getting a little, the more we discuss it, the more complicated it seems to get. I don't think it's just cut and dried of, we want to
Put
actually.
a little zone, that's the end of it. Yeah, I think a diagram of where potential buoys could be placed, and then the enforcement. Because
And I did find this other state law.
jurisdiction.
I did find this state law, and it kind of mentions, the shoreline of the Great Lakes or connecting waters through its peace officers or without a pertinent authority may exercise concurrent jurisdiction as to such waters enforce any criminal law, state applicable to the conduct of persons in over such waters which extend a half-mile lakeward from such boundary. So Great Lakes or connecting waters. I'm curious if that one is Manistee Lake. But there are competing jurisdictions, but I do think we need to find a boundary with the same, static places, to use that vernacular that we have in our current ordinance. And then enforcement is an issue, but, if there's evidence, a video, that can be taken to court. So I think it's kind of asking the property owners to face a camera out there, and that's kind of how they'd have to be addressed, because you can't just have someone sitting at a boat looking for this, but.
I have a question. Being that the area affected that we're talking about lies solely in the city of Manistee, can that remove some of the layers? Basically, since we're only talking about, in essence, a very small area, so we wouldn't have to get, this one involved or this person involved. It's a city issue.
Well, I think the wake is created outside the city, but affecting properties within the city. From what the audience has
Is what you're, okay.
said, right? If you've got, how wide did you say, Mr. Johnson, the channel was?
264 yards.
Okay, so,
That's dock to sandbar.
right, so if you went straight down the center of that, that's over 400 feet from the shoreline. But if our jurisdiction only is 200 feet from the shoreline,
Okay.
so that's what I'm saying. And we can get other jurisdictions, we can get the, Manistee Township involved, but there would have to be something concurrent, and then, to me, the first thing is have some reasonable conversations between the parties and say, we don't want to get too complex with this, and we all benefit from each other if we're all happy, so let's just slow down, and when you get past the condos, or, Arthur Street Boat Launch, I mean, then it's probably too short to even power up after that, but to me, that takes away a lot of the issues with the neighbors, and because I think we can do a lot of work, come up with an amendment to the ordinance, and then spend money to put stuff out, and then try to get the sheriff department to then enforce it. But all of those have to be in effect where maybe some conversations would be the easiest, shortest route to that.
I think to that, we need to list it, like you just said, and then get the sheriff involved to his time commitment. Because I know I've seen him out there, but it's kind of sporadic. I mean, they've got a lot of things to do besides, they probably need 2 officers.
Yeah, and
enforce it.
I'm not law
All
enforcement,
the inland lakes as well.
Right, so they need time, yeah.
but there's gotta be time when they're in the channel. I mean, they dock at the city marina. We have every one of those agencies dock at our marina.
We see them.
but when they're out and about, do some targeted. There's times when the
Exactly.
boats are leaving, there's times when they're coming in, they're pretty
Yep.
grouped together. I think you could do some targeted enforcement and education and.
A little enforcement goes a long ways, word of mouth.
Now, I know Josh Glass, the police chief, also told me in January they've been putting an officer on the Coast Guard boat. I don't know if that happened a lot this year, but that's another potential law enforcement enforcement.
It seems to me, and we should recognize this, that this is not a new issue
No,
or a local issue. And I think while we can discuss it forever, there are pertaining laws existing now. And we just, perhaps, as a lawyer, attorney, look at them, give us an opinion. You certainly read them better than I can, but from what I read, it can be posted now.
Chris, is your group organized? Like, do you have a way to get the message out that there's? I ask with respect.
Where the bite is and how deep.
Tournaments.
I can get in touch with most everyone.
well, maybe if you guys could work together to get a list of things that would help and satisfy everybody, so this works together for everybody.
I don't have any issue doing that. In fact, that's something
We
we should
can
do.
move it all forward,
We can come
yeah.
up with a happy medium that's gonna serve their purpose as well.
Absolutely.
I don't have any issue doing that. I can say 99% of the people in my marina would agree to do it as well.
The issue is we don't meet again till January, we meet sporadically toward the end of the year, and then we're steady from April till now.
The other issue is most of us are off the water now. In fact, all of us are.
Yeah,
on the marina.
yeah.
So we wouldn't know until next spring where the happy medium is, where we can.
We can always do special meetings if necessary too.
Yeah, I'm happy to help out.
Yeah.
Well, I look at it as, quite frankly, there's a lot of laws that aren't strictly enforced all the time until you have an issue,
Right.
right? And there's an ordinance for parking downtown. Well, if everybody's parking and shopping and nobody's having an issue, the police don't have to worry about that. But when he's having a problem because somebody is parked in front of his store every day, okay, well, now there's an ordinance we can enforce, right? So it sounds like there's already state law, and we can reach out to the sheriff and say, we would like some more targeted enforcement of this issue when you guys are out patrolling Manistee Lake. I think that's reasonable. I think that can happen immediately.
I don't mean to interject, but you also have to state, DNR.
Correct.
Yeah,
Well, that's
Right.
right, DNR's out there too.
Yep, so we could reach out to them. Now, if I'm a charter boat captain and it's beneficial for me to zip across that lake to get to the channel and then motor out, okay. But if I know that there's people being harmed and I know that there's enforcement that's gonna occur, it's probably in my best interest not to pay that ticket and pass it along to everybody. And so hopefully we can get some compliance that way, but I don't think that means we just stop this discussion. I think we should study it further and still make a recommendation. But I think there's some stuff you guys can do internally to make everybody benefit.
Our biggest problem isn't with the charter, it's just people coming in that don't live here or belong here. These guys are, for the most part, cognizant of what's happening,
Are there transient slips at Pier 31?
and there's transient for us.
And for me as well. The majority of the transit slips are much smaller boats than the charter boats.
Correct.
If the issues with the charter, more so with the charter boats because of the amount of weight, I think the smaller transit
That needs
slips
to
would be
watch,
the lesser.
too.
Yeah. But I can't speak, I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
There are turtles. But I'm more worried about, as we draw in more traffic, if it's not marked, they're not gonna know.
So I just have another question, and you intrigued me when you said that Sangs have a no-wake zone. I think they probably put up signs.
Right.
And I think people probably see those signs, and nobody's gonna look to see if there's actually an ordinance to back that up. I mean, what would stop?
Nothing would stop me from doing it, but I thought I was probably didn't want to make all y'all mad. So I thought I better ask.
Well,
They're not enforceable, but we still put them on.
Yeah, you put 'em up.
I mean, maybe that's an easy start,
There now.
is the baby,
Get a few more, because the river's weird.
I don't know.
That, when we addressed was out there, that buoy says City of Milwaukee, if you look real close to the water line.
I'm happy to put it here. Take care of it. No problem.
Go for it.
All right, I'm on it. I'm nervous too, though, when we get our donut boats out and our other boats and our paddle boards and stuff, our kayaks, when the boaters are coming through and doing waves, you know, so that's good. We'll pick that buoy up.
I think one option would be if you want to do a, like Jeff suggests, an ad hoc group or just assign a couple committee members to look into it with the stakeholders
Get
and
their contacts and then we
and
can
come
all
back.
work together for January and have a list and go from there, yeah. Agreeable?
You can put me, or I may make a motion to make an ad hoc committee. I know Mr. Ingles fairly well, and Bridget I know well. So I'm more than willing to be point of contact.
Yeah, and then come January, we can have potentially a good solution for the start of the season.
Meetings at the Wander Inn.
Fisherman, I'll serve you whatever you want.
I think with development there on Manistee Lake and then Joslyn Cove kind of filling up, I think it was bound to happen where this would come up again, so I think it's good we address it.
Thank you all.
You're welcome.
Can we make this official and proposal and get the volunteers' names that are gonna be on this ad
A
hoc?
motion for an ad hoc committee for this to move on and get some listing and ideas, and
You made that motion?
can I make a motion?
Did you?
I will.
I would second that motion.
Okay, I would need the motion. I missed it.
To put an ad hoc committee together with the names and who we're gonna work with and listing of the ideas and what we're gonna do, so we can come back together in January and come up with a solution before the boating season next year.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'd be on that ad hoc. Sorry.
Next order of our new business is what Kathy brought up about the 100-year anniversary of the Century Boat Show, which will probably tie into planning for the 2026 season also. Two of the big concerns were dockage and trailers. And dates, I'm sure we need to know, and coordinating with, and maybe more.
Her name was Kathy?
Yeah.
Kathy, I heard you mention you would be willing to sign a contract for the slips?
It's up to like 15 docks that we need, or 15 slips. We plan to put 5 boats in each slip,
Okay,
except for at the gas dock, then that would be 3 boats.
yeah. I think we can just handle that through the reservation system. If we know how many docks, we can individually, I know you've worked with Katie, the marina manager, in the past, but I think we can kind of lay out the area where we want to keep those, because I would think you'd want to keep them all in one, contiguous. And we could just block those out, do it through the reservation system, and then basically you can then just pay for a slip and then put multiple boats in it. But I think that's doable.
I'll put that out to the group and see if that's what they want to do.
Okay?
We can help you with trailer parking.
So-
River Street, and our property, college.
So for trailers, the first thought I had when you just brought this up was, and this is, what dates in September?
September 11 through 13, 11, 12, and 13. Oh, I forgot to mention, the dockage that we're looking for is Friday afternoon through Sunday afternoon. And that's why we thought of a contract. But I know that that's pretty heavy traffic time, and not only the loop, but fishing. And so it is a lot of docks. I mean, I walked the marina down there, and it's like from where the, from like 10 through, I don't know, 24 or something. But there are gonna be a lot of boats.
Yeah, I mean, it's-
All forego counting this show list last year to come to next year.
So it's a very exciting event, obviously. And so I'm glad that you chose to do it and make it really big. We can work with you on making sure the slips are reserved, but you'll have to pay and rent those slips.
When we, get the reservations in? I mean, right now we've got like 45 boats verbally signed up to be
Yeah.
here.
Well, I think we can kind of work that out, and then, but we won't be able to get it formally through the state DNR site until, I think it opens up in March. I'd have to verify that, but we can work on that. I think we can find some, accommodations for where you could park boats or boat trailers.
Is
Um,
that parking lot across from the launch, in front of the Lions Pavilion, is that usable for trailers?
That parking lot was built for boat trailers.
Okay.
That's the sole purpose of it. So I think there's plenty of room in there, even though that's a kind of peak fishing season and it fills up. But we can either accommodate it there, or we can overflow to the Armory parking lot. That's a public parking lot, there's space there. So I'm sure that we can accommodate the trailers and work with you on that. The other thing that you mentioned was the dock heights. So the docks are fixed but adjustable, and we adjust those each season, but they're adjusted for kind of the median, because every boat's big and tall, different. So we usually adjust them at the beginning of the season and look at what the Corps of Engineer lake level forecasts are, but likely those will have to come down next year, but they won't come down all the way, so.
Well, if they're half the distance of what they were this year, I mean, we had ladders going down into the boats.
Right.
Some of the boats are pretty small boats.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
So the other thing is, I would encourage you to, and I got your email, so we can put you in touch with Manistee Tourism, let them help you promote it. And then, did you say you had the special event form already?
I do have the forms.
Okay.
I wanted to make sure I'm, talking to the right,
Yep.
and I can't, put the sign on for the money to go into the, whatever we need, but the president of the boat club will.
Okay.
Anything else for the Century?
I'm sorry?
Anything else from the Century that we may need? Contacts or anything? Yeah. Good.
So I think you emailed me and I responded back to you yesterday,
Okay, I haven't looked at my email.
Well-
I had a day yesterday.
but I'll help work you through the
Okay.
details of it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
I threw the 2026 planning in there, figuring we'd get the ball rolling for next year, since it looks like it could be a busy year again. Ideas, thoughts, comments? I know I'm gonna beat the drum again for DACWA, over and over and over, as long as I'm here. Can you potentially on Google, Kelly, look up our municipal marina site on DACWA? I'm just curious.
I can try.
Thank you.
Yeah, just go to search marina, and then it'll probably come up with our area right away. Yeah, Manistee right there. Click on that. The big thing I see is there, if you look at dock, not offered, mooring, not offered, no day trips. So it almost tells me we've got nothing. I know we don't have mooring, but we can update this and keep after it. I mean, we're paying for it, and as taxpayers, we need to really utilize it as much as we can. Whoever, yourself, Katie, I don't know.
I'm not sure what your concern is.
Well, look down, go down again
Go down?
to the picture of us. Right there, docking is not offered.
I think that's because it's not through the reservation system.
It's been like that all summer, yeah. So, I mean, every time we go down there, we talk to boaters, and they're like, why aren't we using the reservation system? Why don't you guys use it? I'm like, I wish I could. I wish I could tell you an answer, but we're paying for it. To me, it's like going into the store and buying a six-pack and walking out with 4 beers. We're not getting the full value for our money. So that's all I have to, my DACWA spiel.
If you recall, the answer is because they have a reservation system, the state of Michigan has a reservation system.
What?
We're on the state of Michigan's reservation system, and the two systems don't
I've
talk
talked
to
to
each
so many
other.
harbors that do it, and they work it, and they make it work, and so it's whatever. I'm just gonna keep after it, that's all.
So as an engineer, I would suggest providing a link back to the state reservation system, if possible.
Acceptable?
I mean, if it's a separate website and not accessible, just put a link to the other site.
Well, it's like in the morning, you cross-check between DACWA and see what's open and the reservation system, and it's what's open, and give it to whoever we have us first.
It depends on the reservation system, how
Right.
usable it is. Knowing the state is founded in the 1990s.
But that's just my general thought on that. And then the rest of the planning, whatever we need to do to make a good season for everybody, whatever we have thoughts of. I know Katie toward the end of the year was bouncing back and forth. Do we ever have any thoughts of a full-time manager down there again? We had some a few years ago.
The issue is the staff. We need to find staff that are willing to work past
School time.
Labor Day. Well, past the end of August, honestly.
Don't go away to school. Yeah.
Well, what would be ideal is somebody that's retired or
Right.
that's willing to work
Right,
those last 4 weeks and, yeah, at a minimum. I mean, you could work the whole season, but
right. We were here, it was 22 or 23 was the last time they had a full-time person there? That could be. But on that note, yeah, that was the thoughts I had, and
I just looked it up. There is the second paragraph that's just below what you see references that where you can make reservations on the state system.
Just provide a link in there, if there is a link.
It does, it gives the call and
Yeah, just add a link, if possible.
we should ask them why they've got those labels in. And see if they can take that off. That does look negative.
they've done 2 webinars lately. They're constantly throwing stuff at me to upgrade and how to advertise and shoulder seasons and all sorts of. They're super good about all that stuff, so yeah. I guess in January we'll have more to work on with 26.
Could we, maybe on the minutes, add a subsection to that 2026 season planning to include hiring a manager? Consider hiring a manager?
We have hired a manager. She's just not full-time.
Okay.
She's compensated to be the marina manager.
But she's not available after August, is that what we're saying?
No, she is. But what happened is, when you hire seasonal staff, many of them are collegiate.
Right.
And so they go back to school before the end of the boating season.
Okay.
So a lot of times Katie was putting in hours at the marina when there were gaps, and then she'd return back to the office to finish her day, and so she was going back and forth.
Is there a way that we could specifically advertise for that situation?
We did this year, and we didn't receive any applicants.
Did you try the senior center?
I did not target it. But we did run ads late in the summer for a fall open position, and we didn't receive any applicants.
Is that something that we could maybe put on LinkedIn? Which is an online employment thing?
So your best option is probably workcamping.com, which is how I get workers for my RV park. All my RV parks is they are used to the season, they're used to moving around.
I think the main point of this one, though, is we're trying to solidify the meeting dates for next year on the back of the, oh, is that the next one? No. Why can't it be this one? Oh, that's the next one. I'm sorry. That is the last one.
Yeah. No, I've got to say hi to the city council. I see that coming up.
I have your letter, a reminder.
Very good. And then the last one would be the 2026 dates. Do we need a motion to approve those?
Yeah.
Yes.
I make a motion to approve the 2026 meeting schedule for the Manistee Harbor Commission.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're back to our public comments. Anyone left want to, anything to say about our issues today or subjects?
One thing that I have is channel from the and I'm not sure if this is just within the town or within the township, is from the railroad bridge to the lake. That channel moves quite a bit. Somebody marked it this year. Is that something that you all could do? Or does this somebody else have to continue to do that?
No wake signs is your?
No,
Oh, channel markers, okay. That is probably, I'm not sure, Coast Guard?
Nope,
City?
it's done by the campground.
He's talking about the railroad bridge going into the old launch.
Oh, okay.
Right, so I own Manistee, sorry, my name is Jay Zimmer, I own Manistee River RV Resort, the old Insta launch. So I'm worried about from the railroad bridge to Lake Manistee, to the Milwaukee.
Didn't you put in those markers this year?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I thought for sure you guys put in those markers.
I'm not willing to say that out loud.
Okay. Just continue to doing what you're doing, that's fine.
Okay, that's all I care about.
If it works, yeah.
Just providing the service.
Is there any dredging in that area?
God, I would hope so, but no.
No.
Yeah.
I've talked to the DNR, I talked to, I don't think it was one of you guys, it was one of the city council members maybe, and a state senator, and I pretty much got this left. The DNR has never dredged a river in the state of Michigan. I was told.
Become a shipping channel.
Yeah. Comments by our harbor commissioner, starting by Michael.
I would be interested if we were gonna form a committee for the 9th Street boat launch, whatever we were going to do for that. And I hope that we can come to a reasonable conclusion for this issue on Manistee Lake soon, because I think it's obviously hugely important.
Wayne?
I'm encouraged by the cooperation between the public entities that present today. And I wholeheartedly go with a general person's agreement. And I want to thank Mr. Engels for being here today. He has a unique means of communicating with hundreds of fishermen, I would guess. through his YouTube site. And I want to commend you on what you're doing, and you're volunteering to get onto a committee. And I want to take issue with something that I heard. This is minor. There is a difference between captains and boat operators. And the use of the word captains usually falls back on charter boats. Period. Operators, boat operators are also guilty with the situation that's going on. And with that, I'll close.
Well, I'd like to go on record thanking everyone for bringing their concerns to the commission, and it's our duty to assist in remedying this. It's the proper place to talk about it. I'd like to thank all the commissioners for hard work this year. And again, I would be happy to work on the 9th Street boat launch. I think that's very important. And anything else. Thank you.
Good.
And thanks for making the report this year to the council.
You can come with me if you want. Wes will be there.
Maybe.
Jim.
Basically, the boating season's over for this year. We have 2 meetings scheduled on the 26th schedule. I would hope that in those 2 meetings, we can make a strong recommendation on how to handle this no-wake situation and not drag this through another season. Okay? I'm very concerned about ad hoc committees that are just that. They're ad hoc committees that never make recommendations. Okay, so my term is up after this meeting, I believe. I'm torn whether I want to re-up or not, of which I have to let the council know by the next meeting, but please take a look at that. As I said, as a boater, I don't want my boat beat to shit by waves coming in. And that's exactly what happens to it. Gets damaged by the pilings. The pilings don't move anywhere. You have to leave slack in your ropes so that any seizures or any other water levels will allow the boat to float. Okay, so there is slack, and big waves create a problem. More than anybody really wants to realize. The channel is a whole different ballgame. It's a maritime channel. You could have a freighter come in there and rip every boat out of that channel, if you want to believe this or not. It could rip every boat out of that channel. It could squish them next to the seawalls. They have no liability because it is a maritime channel. So it's a different ballgame in the channel than personal residences and a restaurant. It just needs to be fixed, and it needs to be fixed quickly before the next boating season. And it doesn't need to include from you down to the river, through the tributary. I mean, I boat that section, and I'm flying through there as fast as I can go. 'Cause I want to bow down and I want to prop up. Okay, so you just got to understand we need to fix it. We need to fix it before the next boating season.
I'm all set, thank you.
So I think I heard Tom, Michael, and Wes for the 9th Street group, right?
Yes, sir.
You good with that? Then we're good.
And the wake people? We made a motion for
Yeah.
Wes.
Had that with Chris and Bridget.
One or two, if you want.
Probably should be you, Jeff. I think on that
Yeah.
one.
Okay. Very good.
Who was it, Wes, Tom and Jeff? Is that what you said?
For that one, yeah. If you want a third, I'd be happy to. You're running it. All right, Jeff, we're out.
I don't have anything else.
I think we have enough concern here that it's gonna get taken care of before the next boating season with the committee, and yeah, that's what I'm seeing.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I would agree. Second, third, fourth.
I oppose.
It's gonna get put on another committee. Just this. Yeah, because you.